Hey guys! Hey, I hope you guys are doing well. Hope that you've been having a great week. And I've been thinking about my videos, and I'm always hoping that I don't lead anyone astray. One of the things that my husband and I have talked quite a bit about is we really want to help people. My husband and I, we want to help people be able to have the knowledge that we have now, because we were never taught the knowledge that we have now, and it's such good knowledge to have. It's helped our relationship so much with the knowledge that we have received. My husband and I have even thought about possibly doing a podcast of just the different struggles that we've had through our relationship and with other relationships. And we're still mulling over that. We've been thinking about it for a while and talking about how can we help people with the struggles that we've gone through in our life, and how can we relieve some of the suffering by offering the knowledge that we have gained through these years. And so that's just something that we've been thinking about. And that's really my hope in these videos, is to help relieve suffering, help those who have gone through some of the things that we've gone through, to help them be able to progress and get to a place of peace and a place of happiness, truly. And so I hope that my videos aren't being interpreted in any other way than my videos. I really want to help people, and especially relieving people's suffering with the knowledge that we have gained. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there, and I hope that you really feel and know that that's why I say what I say. And we have gained a knowledge that has been so changing and helpful for us, and we just want to offer that. And I'm sure that there are higher ways, more enlightened ways, but the knowledge that we have right now has been so immensely helpful and healing and powerful. And for my own experience, a lot of the knowledge came when God was my counselor for many years. And it's just, we truly, if we go to God, He will give us what we need. And it's interesting that a lot of the knowledge out there, I'm not saying all of the knowledge, but a lot of the knowledge out there is what God was teaching me when I didn't have the ability to get the knowledge from others. So that was eye-opening. But I wanted to talk about President Oaks and Sister Oaks young adult devotional that happened on Sunday. I really like how General Conference and then President Oaks talked about how we should love others as Christ loves us. And it's so true. When I'm in that light of Christ, when I'm in God's love, that's how we can even love our enemies. And my experience after experience after experience of feeling God's love, pretty much the only time that I feel like I can love my enemies and it's not hard is when I'm filled with God's love. And that has been my quest, is to be a God pleaser, because I've realized through experiences of being a people pleaser that I was putting people above God. But when I put God first, when I am tapped into His love, when I am in that connection with God, I am filled with His love. And when I'm filled with His love, I can give His love, not my imperfect love. It's His love that I'm giving when I am filled with His love, when I am in that light of Christ, when I'm in that connection. And I can even love my enemies. And for a while now, the reason why I've been talking about for a long time and been trying for even longer before I even talked about being a God pleaser was because I know, and what President Oaks was talking about, because I know through experience that when I am pleasing God, when I am connected with God, I can love my enemies. I can love everybody. I have this overwhelming love for others. And I truly feel like when I'm really connected with God, when I'm really in that loving God and doing what Jesus did, which is doing only what God would want him to do, being always connected with God. I swear that's what Jesus is saying there. He was always connected with God because he was always trying to do God's will. And he was tapped into his Father's love. And because of that, it was easy for him to do the second greatest commandment because it just comes naturally. I swear that's been my experience. Maybe I'm wrong. And the brethren can tell me that. Please tell me that, brethren. But that's been my experience, that when I am in God's love, when I am filled with God's love, and the second greatest commandment just kind of follows when I'm in that connection. And I think that that's kind of where the prophet and Elder Oaks and all like the talks given in General Conference is trying to direct us to, is when we are in that light of Christ, when we are connected with God, when we are filled with God's love, it will be easy to fulfill the first greatest commandment and then also the second greatest commandment. When you are filled with God's love, you love everything. You love animals, you love God's creations, and you love others, and it just comes when we are filled with his love. And I am not there yet, and I look at it as this progression and these and levels. So, and I mentioned this in a previous video about how babies, they have to progress, and they're at different levels of progressions, right? Like they have to learn to roll over first, and then they learn to sit up, and they learn all these things until they can walk and run, right? And I feel like for me personally, I am in different levels of progression. And I'm pretty sure that Elder Oaks and the prophet and the apostles are way closer to where Jesus is, where they can always be. And I don't know. I have this want, and I have this feeling and thinking that if I can stay within the light of Christ, if I can be connected with God and be filled with his love always, and always remember him and be a God pleaser, then I feel like if I can get to that point of progression, and when I'm filled with his love, I see things better, I feel things better, I can love, I'm a lot more patient. I feel like, and then with what President Nelson and the apostles and all these messages they're giving us is to be of good cheer. I feel like when I am connected with God and I'm filled with his love, then I am of good cheer. So having that connection with God, I feel like, is what's really going to bring me to being of good cheer in all things. But this is where I'm kind of stumped, because I know that Jesus felt sorrow and grief. Isaiah said that he did, and that he felt anger, and he felt these different emotions. And what I'm stumped on is, are the brethren trying to tell us that we need to be of good cheer every second of our life, no matter what we're going through? I don't know. I'm having a hard time understanding if that's what they're meaning. Or are they meaning that when we go through trials and painful things that bring not happiness, that bring, sorrow, which sorrow isn't happiness, that bring us grief because grief isn't happiness, that bring us anger because anger isn't happiness, are we supposed to, what I want the brethren to tell us, because I really don't know this, are they telling us that we shouldn't feel those things? That we should only be happy all the time? Because I don't know how to do that. I'm striving for that. I'm striving to change my thoughts, because I know a lot of our thoughts dictate how we're going to feel, and that we can change our thoughts, have different thoughts that will change how we feel, that will change our results. And I really like that. That's what I'm learning through my life coaches. But what I'm trying to figure out is, are the brethren trying to tell us that whatever happens in our life, like if our kid gets abused, are we just supposed to be happy? I don't think that that's what they're saying. I can't imagine that that's what they're saying, but part of me wonders that. Are you saying that we need to always be of good cheer, always be happy no matter what? What I feel like the message of be of good cheer is in this fallen world is it's a message of hope. So being of good cheer where I'm at, and it's probably different for the prophet and the apostles, because they're probably pretty close to where Jesus is in progression, I would imagine. And I'm not anywhere close to that. But where I'm at in my progression and in the level that I'm at, I'm taking being of good cheer as the message of hope. Have hope. So when you're going through these trials, just remember that Jesus overcame the world. He overcame everything. And when we go through sorrowful things, when we go through grief, when people do things that are painful to us, that instead of going to contention, maybe going to problem solving, instead of going to resentment, go to understanding, go to trying to problem solve. And as we go through painful things, and people aren't repentant, and people aren't sorry that they were terrible to us or whatever, that we always have a safe place to go to. And I can testify to you, in my darkest hours, this is why I love Jesus so much. In my darkest, most loneliest hours, God was that peace. And a lot of times it was happiness, but sometimes it was just peace, because what I was going through was not happiness. It was not something that I could be happy about. But I could always find peace in God. Every time I would go to him, I was connected into that light of Christ, that connected to God and his love, his matchless love. No other love in this world matches God's love. And that love brought me peace. And I was able to get through the really hard, difficult things that I was facing. If the brethren are listening to this video, I know we're striving for that celestial kingdom, but is it wrong for us to have sorrows? Are you trying to tell us that is it beneath us to have feelings other than happiness? Are we not to feel hurts and pains? Are we supposed to get to the point where, because I'm not to that point, I don't know what that looks like. In my progression, the way that I have found the way to get to happiness is by feeling the sorrow. Like feeling when someone that I love passes on. I'm sorry, at first I'm not happy, I'm sad. And part of what the brethren are saying, I wonder, are you trying to say that we should never be sad? That we shouldn't ever feel frustrated with things that, of things that aren't right? Should we not feel sadness? Should we not feel frustration? Should we not be feeling is that the message that you're trying to say, that we shouldn't be feeling sorrow? We shouldn't be feeling grief. We shouldn't be feeling upset. Should we always just be in happiness? That's the question that I'm wondering. I don't think that that's what they're saying. But part of me wonders, is that what you're saying? Are you saying that we should never feel anything but happiness? Or are you saying that it's okay to feel sorrow and grief when people that we love die? And it's okay to be upset or not like being abused. And it's okay to be angry with things that aren't right, like Jesus was. Are you saying that we shouldn't feel those things ever? Or are you saying when you do feel these things, remember, be of good cheer, come back to me? You're feeling these things, and it's natural and normal to feel sorrow when someone dies that you love. But don't stay in sorrow. Come back to me. Come back and connect with me. Have hope. Don't lose hope. Don't feel helpless. Don't lose hope, because I've overcome everything. So come back and get aligned with me, and I will succor you. I will help you through the sorrow. I will help you know what to do through abuse. I will help you know how to get through this depression. I will help you know how to problem solve. I feel like that's the message of Jesus's life here on earth. Was he sorrowed, he wept when he found out that Lazarus had died. He wept. He was sorrowful. He wasn't in happiness in that moment. And I think Jesus's life, when we read through the scriptures, is a life of emotions. And then because he atoned for us, the message is, when you feel sorrow, it's normal. Even I felt sorrow. When you feel angry because something is not right and it needs to be made right, oh, that's normal. And what I want you to do, because I overcame the world, is I'm giving you the good message that I overcame all negative. I overcame all pain. And when you come to me, I can succor you through these painful things. I can help you through sorrow and grief of a loved one passing away. I can help you in your loneliness, in your loneliest times. You will never be alone, because I'm there for you if you come to me. I feel like his message is, you're going to feel all of these emotions. You're going to feel sorrow. You're going to feel hurt, and you're going to feel pain and frustration and even anger. Because even Jesus got angry about something that wasn't right, that needed to be made right. And he made it right. He problem solved. I feel like his message is, when you feel these things, don't stay in sorrow. Don't stay in anger. Don't stay in grief. But come to me, and I will give you peace, and I will give you happiness. I feel like that's kind of why he told Joseph Smith to be of good cheer, because Joseph Smith was in terrible conditions, and what was happening to him was terrible. And what was happening to all of our people was terrible. But he told him to be of good cheer, and I think the be of good cheer is a message of, come to me, have hope. Don't stay in hopelessness. Don't stay in helplessness. There's always an answer, and the answer is me. Come to me. And even though your circumstances might not change, if you come to me, I will give you peace, and I will give you happiness. And sometimes you won't feel happiness, but you will always feel peace. You might not feel happiness right now. You might be feeling sorrowful, but when you come to me, I will give you peace. I will fill you with my love, and that love will heal you. God's love heals. And when we come to God, truly He heals us. And it's because when we come to God, we are filled with His love, and His love is what heals the world. It's what heals us. What I'm feeling, I think it would be amazing to be able to get to the point where anything that is done to us, done to me, of any sort of negative way, that it just never affects me, that I wonder if we really can get to the point where we're always connected with God and have His love, have that love in us, that no matter what comes our way, no matter what negativity comes our way, it just never penetrates us. It never does anything, because we are filled with His love, and it just doesn't affect us, and we're always in happiness. I don't know if that's what they're trying to say. I know that is kind of, I would love that to happen. I haven't experienced it because I haven't gotten to the point where I'm always connected to God and I'm always filled with His love. But that's what I'm striving for every single day, and that is my hope every single day, that I am filled with God's love, because I know that when I'm filled with God's love, I see things through His eyes. And I am the happiest when I am filled with His love, and I am at peace the most when I'm filled with His love, and I can love even my enemies when I'm filled with His love. But brethren, if you're listening to this video, are there steps? I mean, I know you've talked about how it's a choice, but I'm not at that level of understanding, I guess, or knowledge, or have progressed enough. What are ways that we can stay connected in God always? Like, that's my quest, and that's my question, is what are your ways, what are you guys doing? What are you brethren doing to stay in God's love? Because I would imagine that is the only way that you can always be of good cheer, and never feel any negative emotion. Are you trying to say that we should get to the point when we are to that progression, that we get to the point that we never feel any negative emotions, that we are only in happiness? Because that's pretty cool. If that's what our goal is, that's what I'm striving for, but I haven't reached that. And I would love to know what the brethren have done or are doing to be always filled with God's love. Because that's what I would imagine would create where you're always in happiness. But for me, where I'm at in my progression, even though I want to be to that point where I'm always in God's love, I'm always filled with his love, which is happiness and peace. Even if you go through so much, if you go through hell and back, that you can be of good cheer because God overcame everything and all the wrongs will eventually be made right. And so we can have that hope. And that hope gives us that cheer, because that happiness, because I can tell you right now, the times where I feel hopeless and helpless are the most darkest places usually for me, is when I feel hopeless and helpless, like there's nothing I can do. When I hadn't learned that I can problem solve, when I hadn't learned that it was okay for me to stand up for myself or somebody else, when I didn't feel like there was anything I could do, that's when I just felt like giving up. I felt like, giving up to temptation. That's when I felt like, what's the point? I might as well just follow what everybody else is doing. That's when I would get into the bad, negative feelings and thoughts of, it's pointless. Like, trying to be good is pointless because I had no hope. But the be of good cheer to me is a message of hope. And when we lose that hope and we feel helpless, that's when the darkness comes in. But when we have the be of good cheer or that hope message, like, I have overcome the world, and if you come to me, I'm going to give you peace. And he does give you peace. God will always give you peace if you really come to him with a humble heart. I know that hope message, that when we come to God, when we're connected to God, we feel of his love, and that his love is happiness. His love is peace. And so, at least for me, since I'm not progressed enough to always be that, I haven't been able to stay connected every second of every day, that be of good cheer kind of helps me come back to, I need to go back to Jesus. I need to think about him. Yes, I need to feel his love. And when I'm in that love, then I am going to do better. I'm going to be better. I'm going to be the best version of Christy, of myself. I'm going to do his will because I'm remembering him. I'm in his love, and then I can share that love because I'm filled with his love. And it is not my love, it's his love that I give. The goodness that comes from me, I know didn't come from me, it came from God. Do I believe that there's a better way? That there's usually a progression of truth? That you get this truth, and then there's more light and knowledge above that truth? Yes, I 100% believe in that. I believe that there is kind of a progression in truth as well. Like, I think there's solid truths, and then I think there's a progression of truth. I think there's a gaining more light and knowledge, and I do believe that God wants us to gain knowledge while we're here. And I think that we can always gain that knowledge through God. But I also think that many people have gained knowledge through God. And I think that it's not just me that has gained knowledge through God, that these people, like counselors and therapists, have gained knowledge, and that we can reach out to that knowledge and progress up to that knowledge, and then God can continue our knowledge. Anyways, I have these questions and I have these feelings, and I hope to have those questions answered, and I hope to have that progression, and that I can gain further light and knowledge, and that I can get to the point where I'm always happy, where I am always in God's love. I hope I get to the point where I am always connected to God. I always remember him, that I'm always always filled with his love. Like I would absolutely love. I am looking to that day. Like I am excited for the day where I am always in God's love, because that is the best place to be. I hope that this might have been helpful. I hope that the questions that I have may be answered, but I especially hope that you guys are doing well, and I hope that you are feeling his love, and I hope that you have a great week, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I know this video is almost over, but I made this video a couple of days ago, and what's awesome is the church just put out the parable of the slope, which answered some of the questions that I had. So I'm going to put this at the end of this video, which is now, so that you guys can go and watch the parable of the slope. It's awesome. So hope you guys are doing well. We'll catch you next time. Bye.